To get into that back door. Cause mine wouldn't open. I got two keys.
No.
Okay, well, I'll check them in the morning, but I have two keys. One of them goes to the inside door, one goes to the outside, and neither one would let me in. I haven't used it though,
Oh,
because by the time I get there, it's always open.
Yeah.
By the time I leave, there's still people in the room. Thank you.
Oh, do you, Jen? No. No, that's what I just went to go get and, I was, in case it'll let me in. So I didn't look at my agenda. Not much on it, really.
Yeah, I can look at this.
Read it real quick too. It's a short, I said it's short.
They can't, let me go.
My keys won't let me into the new building, I have to buy it before. Into the new building, they do this whole. They have two new keys, but neither one will let me in. It's just. And you're Angela on Thursday, I was thinking, you had to. It was not very lovely, they had very good.
How many people on public university?
I think we didn't have. We just walked in the room, so I think you're probably, if you want to do it, you're gonna go down first.
Okay, then put me on and I'll.
We didn't have a people list, maybe we have Felicia and Michael, I heard Felicia and Michael said anybody.
You should sell them.
Once.
I like paper and such. No matter.
People for publicly heard, one's a mentalist and one's a mind.
And how does that go? They're both on public paper.
That would be good though.
Public paper, that would be interesting. And can you hear a mine? It was sinking pretty. Would he have been, would he or she have been heard? The line being publicly heard, would he or she have been heard?
You know, I would say it's funny, but in Woodstock, anything's funny. In a performance-oriented community, yes.
Correct. Agreed.
I think we should suggest that we should be the first from,
Okay. I don't know. Let's see,
not by.
let's see. Now, what town do you live in?
You let me know if this is blocking anyone's face.
no, it's good.
We're leaving it up. Otherwise, things are, not everything, not necessarily, but it's one of the things.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I will say this, if you ever do the artist studio work, have you ever done?
No, it's always now.
Oh my God. That's a,
Cool.
that's a no brainer.
Cool.
It's awesome. There is a lot of time there.
Mhm. Somebody says, you know, it has its own nice shopping street, it's got restaurants, it's and my 7 children live there, actually, or they did, only one lives there.
It's also got streets that are narrow, anything that's it has absolutely less parking than any place you can possibly think of. Shops don't stay full the same way. Better stuff.
Well, antiques, yes, always has a bunch of antiques.
They have like music going on, it's all doing play, people sold in a shot.
Well,
As soon as I was starting to speak, way through it, this wasn't place at 5 o'clock. And we went to get on. When it's supposed to be-
Well, until Strucy already fixed it. I know what you're saying, but
Thank you.
They do.
I don't disagree with that.
can you get
They don't.
everybody now?
Yep.
Yeah, nothing against you, she told me that's the way. She said you were in trouble. Sorry.
But there's an absence of, like.
Right.
Maybe I'll move it out.
Oh, yeah.
We don't even have people that live inside. Now they've all-
Zoom apart. I agree with
Yes.
everything you said,
Here.
there are balance.
To what? People.
I'm not thinking for that at all.
No,
They
to,
shut down. So-
to fireworks at the end of every step.
Yeah, I mean, they have all.
What do you want? Like this? So you recognize.
Yeah.
So you recognize that as an estrogen and how important that is. That. So every time you have fireworks, it screws everything up in that's. And then, well, they do it at can time and everything echoes. I live about 4 miles away. And I know when the sun is.
But, you know,
Oh, good. Actually, I won't. I'm Okay, 7:00. So we had, we started at 6:00, we had executive session, we interviewed a candidate for part-time police officer and a candidate for the zoning revision committee. So with that, actually, I'll start with announcements, the housing committee, Catherine, if you wanna, if you've got a quick announcement.
Doesn't.
This is a good place.
Sure.
Yes, you can. What's standing up? We're standing up for Woodstock.
So hi, I'm Catherine Teagan, Chair of the Housing Committee, and I'm here tonight along with Sabina, Deborah, and Tanisha from the Housing Committee to let you know about a very special workshop we're having on June 20th. The entire committee has been working super hard to put this workshop together. The Homes for Woodstock Community Workshop will feature a keynote panel with these speakers: Emily Hamilton from Ruffbo, Dean Laval from Habitat for Humanity, Sonia Lemus Wright from the Wright Companies, and Steve Rosenberg from the Hudson Valley Alliance for Housing and Conservation. We're lucky to have these experts in building affordable housing joining us on June 20th. They'll discuss how to balance development with conservation and share how these projects actually get done. We're also planning small table discussions about what affordable homes could look like in Woodstock. We'll be learning about housing types, including ADUs, fourplexes, and others, and discussing their pros and cons, along with where these different types could be located. These discussions will provide valuable feedback for the Housing Committee and the Town Board as we start to plan where we'd like to see new homes. So please encourage everyone to attend, and we have flyers in the back. So please pick one up. Thank you very much.
And time and place?
It's June 20th, 6 to 8 p.m.
At the community center.
And Rebecca just joined us too.
Welcome. Thank you for that announcement. And before you sit down, I know that our last. Before you sit, excuse me. Before you sit down, we do have the resolution, the last resolution about the town adopting a pro-housing communities pledge.
Exactly.
I don't know, I've sent this to the town board, don't know if you guys have any questions, but here's the folks that you might want to ask. Any questions on it?
I was curious whether or not the town of Woodstock has signed a letter of intent.
We have not done that yet.
That's what this.
That's what this is.
That's what this will do.
Yes,
Well, the resolution is part of the application. The first thing is a letter of intent, which we need to draft with the chief's consultation. Then we need the resolution, we need 5 years of permit data, we need a zoning map and a zoning summary. So there's a lot that goes into this application. But New York State will no longer give towns if they are not. So it's important for us to do it.
just let me clarify something, though, we need the resolution first, and then this,
Then we'll do all those other.
and that can
Yes.
authorize me to sign the letter of intent.
The public has a question.
Michael?
I've looked this thing over and it appears that primarily it's cities that are signing up for this program in New York State, not villages. And I guess my question is, don't you think you should solicit some public input on this before going ahead and telling the state that we want to do this? Because we may not want to do this.
Wait,
So.
I'm gonna.
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Asking for.
Question.
Decide when
Bill,
we're-
could you call order in the room, please?
I'm calling
Bill,
order
could
on-
you call order?
Michael,
Look,
sit down, please.
I'm not done speaking and I'm being
We're not
interrupted.
talking about
I've
resolving.
got the floor, Bill.
Why? This isn't a public meeting.
Okay, both
Could you,
of you
run the
are
meeting
done.
properly, Bill? I just wanted.
Michael, you're done. Sit
I'm
down.
not done. I have
You're
a
done.
little more I want to say.
No, you're done, Michael.
I'm not finished though.
You're interrupting the meeting.
I'm asking a question of the housing
question-
committee
the
that
question's
invited
been
me
asked.
to this town.
Committee, could you please answer?
Well, the only thing I will say is that there are many communities, including some around us like Shandaken, and other communities in Ulster County who are involved in passing resolutions and signing letters of intent so that they can have access to resources of the state. That can permit us to take those resources. It just gives us the ability to get points on applications. And also is an intention to really follow some basic guidelines. The county has offered to help with the data collection. They're helping other towns in the county. So this is something that is not just for cities. There are over, I forget how many municipalities in the county, but municipalities of all sizes, from rural to urban, are looking into this as
You said the 200 communities have now joined.
200 communities have already.
How many in Ulster County?
Well, I know that there are 3 or 4 that either have joined or are in the process of doing it. Kind of came up quickly. It came out of Governor Bush's office. And so part of it is a short time frame to address this so that applications made to the CFA, which is coming up at the end of July, would also be benefit from this program.
I know this was announced in January, but only 3 or 4 communities. Do you know how many in Ulster County have signed the letters of intent?
You asked me that question, I said I do not know. I would say that the Ulster County Planning Department could provide that information. I know several are in discussions about it. I don't.
Could you provide that, please?
Sure, we can find out.
That's great, thank you.
Obstruction.
And I had a question.
Sure, Laura.
So,
Something.
So, first of all, I wasn't quite sure number 4, increasing development capacity for residential uses. How does the town increase development capacity for residential uses? What does that line mean?
Well, I discussed this with Kyle Farmer and wondered if we could alter that language in any way.
You speak up, please.
I've discussed this with the county and we did discuss that language. This is something that the state is looking for as part of the pledge.
Oh, so this is a
This
state
is a state,
recommendation?
yeah, this is a state model resolution.
Oh, cool.
So this is what we have to agree to.
Okay, and so they didn't actually explain what that, well, I guess we'll figure it out. And then the other thing is, we do have Woodstock law, so we would do these things. I know we have the Housing Oversight Task Force proposal not yet adopted, but we have a current Woodstock law. So these things would be things that we would be doing in the current Woodstock law.
Exactly.
And we would just then exercise the law in a way that accomplishes some of these things.
Exactly.
And then we'll be thinking, yeah, we're still, Housing Oversight Task Force is still being considered, but we're not there yet,
I just
so.
wanted to say one other thing, you know, this is a pledge, it's not a commitment to
Right.
pass laws, change laws dealing with land use and zoning and housing happening at the town level. That previous proposal, there was a couple of years ago, a year ago, was taken off the table. So there's no mandates from the state to do things a certain way. It's all still based on what the community wants to do.
Supervisor McKenna, I'm a bit confused. I don't understand. It doesn't mention the letter of intent anywhere in this resolution. And it doesn't mention authorizing the supervisor to sign a letter of intent or something
I
like
can
that.
send you the website,
I've
like
looked-
to the New York State website.
I have connected to the New York State website and I understand what the pledge is and what the letter of intent is. What I'm concerned this is the boilerplate language that the state has suggested that towns, when they sign the pledge are, but it doesn't mention the letter of intent. I'm confused
I think
about that.
that's part of the positive step.
Yeah, that's one of the steps we have to take. With the letter of intent is just to start the application, so they recognize the town.
So the letter of intent isn't needed. You could sign a letter of intent without signing the pledge. I mean, I think that you could.
Yeah, we could. There's two options for the application. One includes the resolution, one does not.
What is the application? You say the application.
The application is all those things that I mentioned, all the data from the permits from the past 5 years, summary of zoning, GIS maps. The letter of intent and the resolution, so. We just have to do all those things by July. The library is applying for a grant, and that's why we were asked to bring this to the town.
That's what motivated the
Yeah,
application.
so the library may not get their grant if we don't do this.
Oh, gosh, okay. Lots of reasons to do it.
Yeah.
The right thing to do, plus there's other reasons.
So it's not necessarily just for housing. The library's not providing housing, are they?
They're getting an Empire State Development Fund, that's what they're going for, I understand, and Ivy told me this was a prerequisite.
It's part of the CFA program, which is the consolidated funding application. There was actually a workshop about that today at Singing Falls. So unfortunately, I have another one. I couldn't go to it, but I understand that this was one of the things that was discussed.
But it would not be necessary to pass the resolution. It would be necessary to either pass the resolution or to sign a letter of intent. It's not. I'm very confused about this, and I've read the entire site, and I didn't see anything about the Empire State Development Grant being part of the discretionary funds that Governor Vogel spoke about in January.
If you actually read the Economic Development Grant CFA entire application, you will see that it's actually been added to the CFA grant application. I have a quick question for our councilman. Is there a reason why you would want to sign a pro-housing resolution for the people of the town that you moved to and actually might have even displaced longtime locals? Is there a reason you wouldn't want to?
I'm actually gonna move along, so thank you very much
I'm
for
just
that.
wondering why.
And
What's the problem with signing for resolution? For pro-housing?
Yeah.
okay. A couple of announcements. One, the computer that the water department uses to read the meters had a failure and had to be shipped back a month or 6 weeks ago. And it's fixed, but still it's somewhere in the mail being delivered back. So it is possible that, probably highly likely, that the water bills, which are due on July 1st, will not be going out until at least July 15th. So just an FYI. And the town will, because there is late fees associated 30 days after, we'll move that late fee date 30 days from the 15th. And if at the first meeting in July, we still don't have the computer, we may be extending that a little bit more. The other, I just wanted to get a quick response from the town board. William Spencer, our zoning official, did send us an email about a couple of hazardous properties. Just wanted to get a sense of whether we wanted to pursue that through the court system.
My question about it was.
You can add it to the shady one.
My question about it was, is this a complete list of all the hazardous properties? Is this an ongoing thing that he's doing, and what's our role in it?
If you look at the law, you'll see your entire law, but at this point, what would be done is he would cite them and take them to court.
And we're not needed to do that.
No, but it's expending money. So I'm asking. Any thoughts?
Well, I mean, if we have hazardous property, I mean, everybody. We've heard complaints for a period of time about, there's no enforcement, he's being proactive in enforcement, and. I think we should give it a shot, see how it goes.
I support that as well. So I think he put his notices together very professionally, formally. Do we know how much it would cost?
You know, I can't even hazard a guess.
But attorney would need to go with him, I guess, right? If you go to court, or he's an attorney.
We do have John McGovern as an attorney that does all our trial work here.
But I think we should give it a go, because people have said time and time again, there's no enforcement, he's done his homework. And we need to support enforcement, if we need to walk the walk, not just talk the talk.
Really? Next topic, cannabis moratorium. So just a little background. Back several years ago, when the state approved marijuana sales, the town had the option of saying yes, no, opting in, not opting. And the town board at that time took the position, the state had certain regulations and guidelines that they would require. One or two being that they needed to be 200 feet from a church and 500 feet from a school. We signed off and said, you know, we're comfortable that the state will follow these rules and regulations. It's come to pass that they are not following the rules and regulations, and that they've twisted things around to the point where they're about to give a license to a shop right off the village green, which is less than 200 feet from the church. The church is not happy with this. The church also owns the village green, so they're not happy about the possibility that, you know, folks are walking in, there's no parking there. So I am going to put together a moratorium which would not ban cannabis licenses, but would ban any retail within 200 and 500 feet respectively. And so I'll have that in a week or so. If you have any thoughts on that, let me know.
I support that.
Yeah, I support that.
It
And
would,
again,
it would be the same as the state's law.
but it would be the same as what the state initially proposed. Now, one of the things the state turned around and said when I argued about this retail establishment, well, it's not, they claim that the church is not on the same street. The Dutch Reformed Church is on Tinker Street. It's listed on Tinker Street. This roadway behind is their property. It's not a town road. The village green is their property. And so one of the things I asked, so if you had a school on one block and you could open up a cannabis retail establishment less than 500 feet if it was around the corner, and they said yes. So, you know, listen, I'm not opposed to sales. We were all supportive of it, but I think we need to have some amount of protections here.
So our law, it's a law, not a regulation.
We would amend the zoning law. Which is,
And it would be more restrictive than the state's law.
I would propose that we go with the 200 and the 500. I'm comfortable with that, except I think we should make it clear that it's 200 feet. Regardless of what street it's on.
Which would be more restrictive.
That,
That
well,
part would.
and that would be, you're right, but that wasn't what their initial law said either. Somehow that got changed. And actually, I still don't see, it's not even written into their law. They're just interpreting it that way. One of the things that frustrates me, I mean, even the governor has turned around and decried the rollout of her own agency and ended up firing the head of it. So anyway, if you have any thoughts on that, get back to me and I'll work on that. Arch Top Fiber, they're a new company they came to see us about 2 weeks, I don't know what that is, what was that prior?
You know, the Archtop Fiber is a new company, and it happened just 20 years ago.
When you were, okay, so they approached the library because the library had a good location for a hub that they need to bring all their wires together. They were going through the planning process and hit some snags, which I'm not really sure of all the details, so I won't even go into. But that deal is not gonna work out. And they did approach the town. I met with them at the town hall, and there's a small 4 by 4 foot closet in the back of the garage at the police station, which would be sufficient for what they need. So they're interested in maybe working out a deal. I think with the library, they were gonna give them free internet for their buildings. Now, I would take the same approach. They would, if we agreed, put a door from the outside in, so they would have no access to our building other than that one small corner. So if you have any thoughts or questions, comments, let me know.
Yeah, and you said they were giving us a break on our internet
Well, what I would approach is that we, we want.
as part of the negotiation, you said, so
Yeah,
negotiate.
the return would be,
Are there any other private companies that we have this kind of property sharing agreement with?
the only other one I guess would be the cell tower. The town technically owns the cell tower, but we have a company that comes in and manages it, so it's not quite apples to apples. But it was a private company that built it and then handed it over to us for a split of the revenue. So not quite the same. One of the benefits to Archtop is that by having them come in, the hope is and the expectation is that internet expenses will go down. It's going to be more competition for spectrum. And I always think competition is a good thing.
I would hope that if this is something to go forward with, that we would not just make a deal for the town, we make a deal for the people of the town.
Well, certainly that if we made a deal with them for the town, the taxpayers would be getting it.
I would make a deal with them.
What kind of deal?
People of the town, that they offer reduced internet rates to the residents of Woodstock. Because the residents of Woodstock are the owners of the piece of property that they are on.
Okay, I'll recommend that.
Do you mind if I interrupt just to save time? Because I was at the CCD meeting last night. There are two competitors.
We're not taking comments from the public right now, just let me
Check
continue.
with the CCD, you'll save time right now in your conversation.
Yeah, okay, I wanted to say one thing. So I think it's a good idea to do it. I know when you and I talked, I said, we also want a written statement from them that there is no radiation, there is no health.
And I mentioned that to them, they said there is, they're happy to put that.
Right, so they'll put that in writing, that's good. And it seems to make sense to me, and to have the town getting some free internet. It's a nice idea to say, give it to everybody, but they may leave. If they can't, if they can't run a business, they may leave and go find another town. So I agree with you, it's a good idea to bring them in for a conversation.
We need townwide Wi-Fi,
And what's that?
townwide Wi-Fi, without 5G.
Again.
We talked about that and tough hill to climb. The last thing I want to say is that there was a presentation of the new zoning maps that were created. And that link is on our website, correct? So if anybody wants to see, it's about a 20-minute presentation. I think it was very informative. It showed what's the potential is right now and what the potential for development would be with the new laws. And I know that everybody I've showed it to has been pretty
Yeah, she did a nice job.
shocked at how well the proposed law would protect the town.
Yeah, she was excellent, I thought, at explaining what is today and, the other factors, so. She is, she's the co-chair, or she's the vice chair. Okay.
So with that, I'll get to some resolutions. Be it resolved to authorize the supervisor to sign a contract with G-Works Enterprise. So there is a slight increase. This is for our BIMS accounting program.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Be it resolved to hire Jessica Sayoff as a full-time dispatcher, $24.93 per hour, effective June 12th, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Be it resolved to hire Dean Robert Leonard Jr. as a full-time seasonal help, for the highway department, grade 1.5 at $20.54 per hour, effective June 17th, 2024, and ending August 30th, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Be resolved to hire Peyton Cloth as full-time seasonal help for highway department rate 1.5 at $20.54 per hour, starting June 17, 2024, and ending August 30th, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Whereas on January 22nd, 2002, Woodstock Town Board pursuant to section 6-C of the General Municipal Laws amending to establish a highway equipment reserve type fund to finance the cost of acquisition of highway equipment as the need arises. Therefore, be it resolved to withdraw the amount of $125,000 from the highway equipment capital reserve type fund for the following: new box for truck number 8, $15,000. Asphalt hot box reclaimer, $25,700. New box for truck 12, $2,500. Helix Vista twist for the R55 excavator, $7,800. One-ton pickup with sander and plow, $74,000.
Second.
And
Sorry.
whereas the transfer of $125,000 from the highway equipment reserve type fund is subject to permissive referendum as it relates to Article 7 of New York State Town Law. Be it further resolved, the town clerk is directed to place the following notice in the official newspaper of the town. On June 11, 2024, the Woodstock Town Board adopted a resolution authorizing the transfer up to $125,000 from the highway equipment reserve type fund for the acquisition of highway equipment. This resolution is subject to permissive referendum pursuant to the provisions of Article 7 of New York State Town Law by order of the Woodstock Town Board. Now, Laura.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Be it resolved to accept the resignation of Timothy L. Quigley as part-time dispatcher effective June 14, 2024. Be it further resolved to thank Timothy L. Quigley for his contributions to the department.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Whereas the Woodstock Town Board believes that the lack of housing for New York residents of all ages and income levels negatively impacts the future of New York State's economic growth and community well-being. And whereas the housing crisis has negative effects on global and local, regional and local levels, we believe the community must do their part to contribute to housing growth and benefit from the positive impacts of healthy housing market brings it to communities. And whereas we believe that supporting housing production of all kinds to a community will bring benefits, including increased housing access and choices of current and future residents, providing integrated access to all housing options to meet the needs of people with sensory and mobility disabilities, bring economic opportunities and vitality to our communities, and allow workers at all levels to improve their quality of life through living closer to their employment opportunities. And whereas we believe that evidence showing that infill development that reduces sprawl and supports walkable communities has significant environmental and public health benefits. And whereas we believe that affirmatively furthering fair housing and reducing segmentation is not only required by law, but essential to keep our housing communities strong and vibrant. Therefore, be it resolved, the town of Woodstock, in order to take positive steps to alleviate the housing crisis, adopts the pro-housing communities pledge, which will have us endeavor to take the following important steps. 1, streamline permitting for multifamily housing, affordable housing, accessible housing, accessory dwelling units, and supportive housing. 2, adopt policies that affirmatively further fair housing. 3, incorporating regional housing needs into planning decisions. 4, increasing development capacity for residential uses. And 5, enhancing policies that encourage a broad range of housing development, including multifamily housing, affordable housing, accessible housing, accessory dwelling units, and supportive housing.
Second.
Okay,
We got 2 seconds.
discuss.
I'm a bit concerned that this is for the library, but no one from the library is here to advocate for this, that somehow the library, which is its own municipality, needs us to do something. I'm also concerned that it's about a letter of intent, but this is actually not about a letter of intent. And third, I actually do not support some of these things here, like broad range of housing development. I support affordable housing, accessible housing. I don't support a broad range of building in Woodstock. So I would just like to get these questions answered about the library before we make a vote on this.
This isn't for the library.
We were just told it was for the library.
No, it's for everyone.
There's a byproduct. The library has one benefit. They would only.
They
one
can't move
benefit.
forward.
No one can get a grant in Woodstock without this designation
No one can get a grant in Woodstock
from the state,
on what? On housing or on anything?
anything.
On absolutely anything. We
From
don't
the
have
state, from state grants.
I'm having difficulty understanding how we need to pass a resolution if we're going to be getting any type of money from the state of New York.
That's the carrot in the stick.
That does not, I'm sorry, that does not sound correct.
That's correct. It is, and we've all looked into it. So with that, this does not commit us to anything. It says we're pledging to work towards creating housing. If you.
Affordable housing.
Yeah, it talks about.
Only.
Affordable housing.
This is a building resolution.
This is the state's resolution.
Exactly.
Okay.
The safe, you say, it's called a safe resolution.
Yeah.
Safe.
All in favor?
Aye. I think I heard 3 ayes.
Aren't you gonna ask who's opposed?
Any opposed?
No.
That was nice and loud. Okay, with that, public be heard.
I have 2 people that want to speak, one.
Annie, come on. Oh, no, allegiance first.
Who else wanted to speak? Oh, Michael. Well, Michael wanted to speak too, right?
If there's a limit and someone wants to speak, I can yield my time. Since I could also speak at a public hearing in the near future. Speaking of which, okay,
You're on.
speaking as someone who participates in the drum circle on the green as well as in the community center. I want to state strongly that perhaps the agreement on anything else that's needed, but the original agreement, which the town does have, I understand, in print, that was back at maybe even before the 2000s, between Judge Engels, the chief of police at the time, the Reformed Church on the Green at the time, and other town officials of the drum circle and other music as well. I mean, stating that it could be 1 hour any other day of the week, but it can't go past 6, and just for 1 hour. And on Sundays, 2 hours, but it has to end at 6. It will not be, and that be part of and be an amendment added to the proposed sound law, or the proposed amendments to the existing sound law. And so that now then becomes an amendment to that sound law, just to have that as part of the law and in print, and something that is more binding than, you know, an agreement which I have yet to see, but it's in print, I understand, and is basically an agreement rather than part of a law.
Yeah, it's agreed. I know, Anul and I did speak afterwards, if I may just say, Anul and I spoke afterwards. I know, I think some of us thought it went without saying in the proposed noise law, but it does not go without saying. I agree with you, it does not go without saying. It should be clearly spelled out.
And it could be listed as exceptions and then have that document as an amendment and a supporting document.
Yeah, we need to get it clarified and documented somehow, because it's to be, I certainly want to protect it. I think the majority of the board wants to protect it, so.
And I publicly stated.
Right.
My feeling is it's a town sponsored event. But if others want to have more clarification in the law, I have no issue with that.
Okay, thank
I
you.
love the guns.
Michael B.
Michael?
About the pro-housing community that you just discussed, and I think we voted to accept. It is a total development plan being put forward by the state of New York. And I just want to say to the three of you who got elected, if you had stood up before the voters in the last election and said you were running on a platform to open up the town of Woodstock to total development, I guarantee you would not have been elected. And what you just voted for tonight is just that. I've looked into it. I've probably done more research than you have on this thing. And it is not suited for Woodstock. It is completely not a Woodstock program. We are not Poughkeepsie. We are not Newburgh. We are not Kingston. And you people are just, I'm sorry, but you're selling the town down the river. And I don't say that lightly. I don't get up here and say stuff like this lightly. Okay. Thanks for the respect. Thanks for the respect. On the good side, I want to thank you for agreeing to support an enforcement action against unsafe properties here in town. As you well know, I live next door to a very significant unsafe property. They have been in court. Mr. McGovern has brought the case. There were hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars in code violations. The town settled for $6,000. Now, in terms of paying for the cost of bringing these suits to enforce, all I want to say is get these people to pay the fines that are levied by the code violations. Don't settle for pennies on the dollar, as was done the last time they were in court. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike.
Tori Belver. In the resolution that.
You don't have to stand so close to that, you know, yeah, 'cause it'll distort that. That is not a mic, that's a microphone, that's just a recorder.
Oh,
It's not, you know, that's okay. It's not for Zoom or for here either. Sorry for the confusion.
Yeah, Melanie, you not allow her to stand someplace else, because I see the camera.
That's perfect, right there.
Keep saying that, where's the X? In your resolution that you just passed, there's a section of it that's post the body, which is our pro-housing pledge. And you did not include what was in the body from the government in your pro-housing pledge, which is all new buildings will only be infill housing that will reduce sprawl and supports walkable community. I believe before we leave tonight that you would amend your housing pledge at the bottom as number 6 and add this in. All new buildings will only be infill housing that reduces sprawl and supports walkable communities. I don't believe that multiplexes belong out in Shady, out in Lake Hill, out in the hamlets. We're just going to create more sprawl, suburban sprawl. And I also know for a fact that our Earth is at 1.5% centigrade above the norm of eons. So why do we keep doing the same mistakes we have done in the past? Keep the building within the town perimeter, within where we have the structure to keep the housing. That's where it belongs, not outside, not a sprawl. So I ask you to amend your pledge tonight before we leave.
Hi. I have a couple of things to state. One is that I noticed, as the sound ordinance issue has arisen, and it relates to, I believe, the planning board is dealing with, or maybe it's zoning, with really working to stop the clear cutting of trees and yards and lawns, which are actually probably one of the biggest issues we have with the sound ordinance, is that we have new people coming to the town, they want everyone to see their lawn, they cut the sound and road dirt barrier, you know, they don't know, they're just moving from, they want a suburban look, but the actual reality is it's causing major issues. So number one, I just want to make sure if anything happens between now and Friday around looking at those noise ordinances, that the mitigation of some of that is looked into. Does that make sense? And then the other thing is that there's a large group of members. My name is Rachel Marco Havens. I am one of the co-presidents of the Woodstock Chamber of Commerce at the moment. And we are working with a very dedicated group of people to amend the amendments and bring you something that is a little bit more reasonable for our community regarding use, past use, who our community is, selling ourselves as an artist colony, and also very particularly, Bennett, I'd like to point out to you that you've mentioned very many times about the need for like support for our arts in our community. You don't have to look at me, but I am speaking to you because we are picking up quite a bit of the mantle of holding our artists and our creatives. And we do need to be a housing forward community. I also agree that we need to cap our new building for affordable housing. I'm in full agreement with you. I also don't believe that we have to keep everything pristine. Sometimes we do actually have to be willing to allow maybe not plex, but multi-housing, perhaps little enclaves that don't look like suburbia, because we're all pollinators here. I'm a mountain girl for 55 years in these hills. We do need to, because there is now a massive, massive overgrowth of elders in our community, and they're about to close our school. There is no regeneration with focusing specifically on elder care and not youth. So we need to be thinking about inviting community, families, people that live here. I am a second generation Woodstocker. I would like for my son to be able to live in this town, but he can't. And so while I don't care who we're going to blame, right now we have to look at making room for the people. And also housing committee, please return our displaced humans to our community, because it's lovely to say statewide lotteries and then invite everybody and their cousin with more need than the people that are here into our community. You need to be focusing on returning our community members to our community before opening up the space to half of New York, because we already had that done and they're clear cutting everything and bitching about the sound. We're dealing with our water's not being handled, so we need a little bit of help. Let's look out and bring our people back.
Jackie, that's it?
No, TV.
Oh, Fanny, come on, last one. You want, okay,
Yes.
go ahead, Fanny.
So, you know about the local access TV, channel 23 of Woodstock. So we need a budget for that place. You were there the other day.
Well, we do have a budget.
Well, but we are not using it. And so I would like to, for you to really set up some person to come, because it has to be modernized. And you saw that. And so, Ellen is
We
not.
need to get rid of some of those wires.
Everything has to be redundant, everything. And so you have to really settle some, and also, from what I am aware is that you have a Spectrum is our supplier, is that right?
Yes.
And so Spectrum pays for that. Because in our bills, we get some kind of a franchise fee, and that fee should go really for the studio. There is a lot of money there. And so I would appreciate that you use some of that money instead of putting it all in the general fund to put some of it on the TV station, because it really needs modernizing. Now that Devin is not there, I have been trying to do what he does, and it's very complicated for me. So I would like to have something that is more simple, which nowadays I think we can get it. Okay? And you saw that the meeting for the sound, I gave you a DVD, you were there. Huh? DVD. So, we have to have something that is compatible, from the things at the studio with what you have here. I would appreciate if you get into that.
So, are you able to put together a proposed list? I mean, you need somebody to put together a proposed list, you've already got a proposed list?
No, she would need
Or you would need some technical
Yes,
help to put
yeah.
together the process.
Yes, yes,
Ben, we have some people with the change, let's.
I don't know the technology.
Yeah,
basically.
Phil and I have talked about this too, we'll talk. There, I have a
We want
connection
support.
that was offered.
So, Sarah,
Yeah,
you're up.
well, you know, this actually goes, well, it kind of comes around to this, so I'm not even getting into details right now, because what I'm hearing, and actually what I gathered from last night when I was in the smallest room that just fit the table and chairs, I went to my first CCD meeting. So I just see that we're wasting a lot of time. We're wasting a lot of time. Some people say we have too many committees. Some people say we don't have enough. We should add more. We don't have enough communication. We're not communicating well. You're not communicating with each other. You're not communicating with us properly. You're not communicating with me properly. You're not communicating with me properly. As of today. I need to hold it together because I am trying to just, there's a better way. And I think it will take someone to really hold the information above what you're doing. And each and every committee, I'm told that the committees and commissions have someone connecting them. No, they are not. You know how I know? Because I go. And so I don't want to be discounted when I show up or treated like a fool. I am not. I don't know everything you know. I don't have your educational backgrounds or whatever, but I show up. So I just want more people to show up. I was so hoping that people didn't even know what our agenda was because they didn't pay attention, because so many people don't, because we have really crappy outreach. Let's get better with that outreach and stop worrying about what is on the telephone poles as much, and like worry about taking it down better together. How I like pick up the garbage and the crap off the streets that somebody should be doing. Just because Jogger's dead. We just don't see that anymore. Would we not have a maintenance department? So I like on April 20th, we just don't have WEC anymore. Somebody doesn't know which waterway is running behind my house, and like we're talking about pollinators. There's not a single one on the house that was next door to my house where, like, I don't know if I was just asking, I called to ask them if they knew that their fans were on 24/7 on their porch where the lights are blasting, like give you a migraine at 3 a.m. 24/7. Do they know? This is Woodstock. Where are you?
Okay, Sarah, thank
So like, let's do better as together.
you, Sarah.
Your town halls, where are they, please?
One's coming up, one's gonna be coming up,
Yeah,
I'll announce
I
that.
know.
Motion to adjourn.
But have I heard them?
It's on summer housing, the resolutions. I know there's a lot of suggestions and proposals. And it's not a comment so much on what's been accepted or asked for, but I would ask that. I know there's a lot of division. Woodstock's got a lot of very passionate individuals. We have a lot of things we're passionate about. It's very hard to find a future that marries all of our passions and all the things that we want for this community. We have a lot of different ones. I'm begging our board, our community, everyone involved in that movement, the motion forward, that we choose our development. We're going to be changing. We have to. The world has changed and is changing. Some things we keep from the past, some things we're moving into the future and creating now. Please, 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 please find a way for us all to be able to work together and choose the future that we get. We have to develop something we're making. Because if we don't choose, it's going to be chosen for us. It's America. Money talks in many ways. You have a lot of options and opportunities. Please try to find what's important for everyone across the aisle and choose your middle ground. Please, 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 please.
Thank you.
Just,
That's one of those.
yeah, just 30 seconds. I don't know why you can't supply a handheld microphone so that especially when people are talking to you and their back is to us, it's hard to hear them. What's the problem about a handheld
We'll
microphone?
be back up in the meeting room with mics all hooked up.
I know about there, but
Yes,
we've been here for a long time and a microphone, it wouldn't have been a big deal to have a
We didn't even
microphone.
try. Thank you. Motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the